welcome to my channel where we question everything. Today's topic is Nancy Pelosi's visit to Armenia and the story that goes around it. Now, for us Westerners, it's quite difficult to understand, especially if you have to pronounce the names. And if you Google and Wikipedia and other sources, you will find that there's a very rich history to these areas, and one can go back basically ages, hundreds of years into the history to try to understand the conflict that is currently being there. But before I start with that, I would like to quickly go off topic and discuss something else. Firstly, I've seen, this is a new channel. I have never done it before. And I've seen that there are some people that view these, that I get some views on their videos, but I do not get likes or dislikes, so it's very difficult for me to really determine whether I'm talking sense or whether I'm talking nonsense, and whether people agree, and whether people, what I'm talking about, what people will like to hear. So I would like to urge you and request very nicely, please press the either like button or the not like button. It doesn't matter for me what button you press, as long as you press a button and I can have some form of feedback. It's not that difficult. Usually you have your mouse, your hand on your mouse, and quickly you can move the cursor there and make a click and pops your uncle. So please provide some feedback. If you have any requests or opinions, then please leave a message in the comment section. And this type of feedback would be highly appreciated. Okay. The second thing I would like to mention is that why the hell did Nancy Pelosi go to Armenia? Just stirred up a big mess up in Taiwan, against all warnings from China and all the other people. And I understand even Biden wasn't, the White House wasn't supporting her visit, well, which is debatable. But I don't know. I look up on Wikipedia or Google, and she's 82 years old. And I look at Joe Biden, and he's 79 years old. And I looked at Donald Trump, and he's 76 years old. And I asked myself, what is wrong with these Americans? Why do they choose all these old people to lead them? Well, lead them, because I can't see much leadership from Joe Biden. And I don't know, maybe some Americans should actually leave a comment and tell us all what's happening. In any case, back to the main story. One can go, like I said, one can go back into very far into the history of Armenia and Azerbaijan, and even back to the Persian period. But somewhere we have to start. In any case, the main, I would start basically, let's start where it belonged to the Russian Empire. For a while. And then when the Russian Empire collapsed in 1918, there was a brief war and a conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan. And then the whole area was taken over by the Soviet Union. And then the Soviet Union managed it until the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1988, type of, in that era. It wasn't a total collapse, but that's when the other problems started. And what makes actually the thing even worse is that the fight is not really between Armenia and Azerbaijan. There is a part of Azerbaijan that is called the Artsakh, and it's a breakaway republic of a certain area. And this area is also called the Nagorno Karabakh, which is actually a name for, or a Russian name for mountainous Karabakh. And this area broke away from Azerbaijan in 1988 and tried to establish a republic, an autonomous republic. And, well, unfortunately, neither was this small oblast of area, you know, the Eastern people have different names for that, but let's call it the oblast because of the Donbass and Ukrainian concepts. It was not supported by the UN, it was supported by the security guards and by various options. So it's not internationally recognized as an independent country. But what makes it so interesting is that about 90% and more of these people living in this area are actually Armenians. And the Armenians are mostly Christians, where Azerbaijan are usually mostly Muslim country. And according to what I read was that Azerbaijan was the first democratic Muslim country. Quite interesting. So just to put something into perspective, here's a map that I found. The first map is basically just to show you where this whole conflict is happening. Armenia is on the left. Azerbaijan is right next to the Caspian Sea. And in the middle of these two, there's an area which is called the Nagorno Karabakh Azdak Republic, the Republic of Artsakh. Okay. And on the south, we have Iran, and on the west, we have Turkey, and in the north, we have Georgia and Russia. And just a little bit of background, there was some nice oil and gas deposits that were found, which now belongs to Azerbaijan, and that naturally had a financial boost for Azerbaijan. So what is actually happening is that this Republic of Artsakh would like to be independent, but it is not recognized that, and Azerbaijan actually feels that it belongs to them, and they have to control it. But on the other hand, the Armenians only support this republic or this piece of land. It's not part of Armenia, but it's being supported by Armenia. And for this, there's a conflict in a very small area. Here's another map that shows you more in detail what is going on. And you will notice that the green area, which is the biggest part, is Azerbaijan. The orange area is Armenia. And you will even find out that there's a small part on the left lower section that is also Azerbaijan. So as you can see, that part is actually isolated from the main part of the country. And then you have the orange section, which is the Republic of Artsakh. And then you have some colors like light blue and yellow and so on. And those were areas that were actually, there was a war between Armenia and Azerbaijan. And in the peace deal, they had to give that occupied area, well, the one was occupied already by Azerbaijan, so they retained that control, and the other part was actually controlled by Armenia, and during the peace agreement, they had to give it back to Azerbaijan, and Azerbaijan now controls those areas. And if you look very finely, you will see a small purple area, and that's the Lakin corridor, which is the only, call it, bridge between Armenia and the Republic of Artsakh. So there's a little, please understand the ridiculousness actually of this thing. I can understand that they would like to support their cultural, like the Armenians that are living in this area, but I don't see the reason why war should be fought, and I don't see that when the world doesn't recognize a small area, then why you fight even any conflict over this matter? And then you actually fight only on a small 5-kilometer wide corridor that connects you to this area. So I don't really understand that. But in any case, so there are multiple sources available about this conflict. And I don't want to go into detail. There's a very good article on Wikipedia. Well, we know how Wikipedia is. Not everything is true, but in this case, what does it really matter? So, the first Nagorno-Karabakh Armenian-Azerbaijan conflict was actually with the fall of the Soviet Union in 1988 till about 1992, and a lot of people, 94, and a lot of people were actually killed in this war. And then there was an agreement, and then more or less a standoff, peace was declared. But for the following years and so on, there were always border clashes up until 2020. Now, it sounds bad and so on, but you can say each year, each country, Armenia and Azerbaijan, both lost about 100 men. Soldiers were killed. It didn't have such a big effect on the civil population, but soldiers died each year, about 100 on both sides. And then somehow it got out of hand, and then there was this big war in 2020, which I just have talked about. And well, again, several people died. A lot of soldiers actually died. Yes, some civilians, but not that critical. And then Russia brokered the deal, and that's again a ceasefire type of standoff between the two countries. But that's about the history that goes back to these two countries and the conflict. But what I would rather like to talk about is the political side of this conflict, which makes actually the whole thing about Nancy Pelosi's visit a clear sign of hypocrisy. And so let's start with Russia. Russia treated Armenia and Azerbaijan like two children, but had loved them both or supported them both, but Armenia was his favorite, if that gives you a sense of how he felt. So he recognized both parties. He tried to control them, or at least calm them down, and tried to ensure peace, but he favored the Armenian side. And even at one stage, the Armenians said that Russia was one of their only supporters in the conflict. But, like all countries do, Russia supplied weapons to Armenia and to Azerbaijan. So I don't see how that works, but in any case, they supplied the weapons. And then we look at Turkey. Turkey is a big, because of the history, the very long history, they supported Azerbaijan, and although they have a long border with Armenia, and basically supplied them with weapons as well, and to international support as much as they can. And on the other side, then we have Iran. Iran was mostly neutral and tried to play the role of mostly mediator in various conflicts. So they didn't want to really get involved. But in the end of the day, they supported, let me see, they supported for neutrality, but the growing support for Armenia. So those were guys on the Armenian side. And now we come to the host, Nancy Pelosi. Yeah, since 2000, the year 2000, there were two dividing views in Washington. The Congress mostly supported Azerbaijan, and the White House had more policy towards Armenia. And at the end of the day, they developed a pro-Azerbaijan policy, or they adopted Azerbaijan. So for the last 22 years, they have been supporting Azerbaijan, and they have supplied weapons to both of them, but not in equal terms. They have actually provided some humanitarian fund for Armenia, but they have had approved a military or weapon supply to Azerbaijan to the value of about $100 million. And this was a large part, it was actually in the Trump era. And the way that I understand is that the Americans actually supplied them with the weapons in order to create a problem between Azerbaijan and Iran, was the focus of Donald Trump. But it had an influence on Armenia as well. So now you go to today, not today, a couple of days back, and you have this old lady of 82 who seems to me to be the person that is currently earmarked for stirring up conflicts. And one has to ask her, what is she doing actually? Firstly, Armenia belongs to the Russian, Kazakhstan, Armenian, Belarus type of security organization. It always was favored by Russia, and Russia always supplied all the ammunition and military equipment. And Armenia actually acknowledged that support and said they were their best friends. And then you basically look at the USA, who at this stage seems to me just to stir the pot and meddle with other people and other countries, who always supported Azerbaijan. And now suddenly Nancy Pelosi is a big friend of Armenia. How does that gel? So I'm not sure why she went there. But in any case, if Armenia really looks like that, and if Armenia would fall for this promises that this old hag, if you want to call it, made in her speeches, one should actually laugh about it, the support of the USA, the unwavering support, then that would be a huge tragedy and an error. Firstly, the US won't support Armenia. There's no way they can do it. The biggest ally in the Middle East is Turkey, and Turkey supports Azerbaijan. So I don't see how that's going to gel. Then you have Iran that sort of favors Armenia but tries to stay neutral. Well, they're not going to get involved. And then you have Russia, that's already the biggest friend of Armenia, and also the most rational and mature player in the game, who tries to make peace. Now, personally, if I look at the map, I don't see the reason why there should be a conflict, but it is a cultural conflict. It is between Christians and Muslims, but there are other countries that have a mixed religions, and they are quite fine. They have no problems. I mean, Russia is the most biggest example actually of that. They have Muslims and Hindus and whatever, all the religions they have, and it works. Countries should only actually try to become independent if they are, if the minority or certain categories are mistreated and suppressed. And this is actually what happened in the current Ukraine. It was all right. Ukraine was no problem until it was instigated by the Americans, and there was a coup in 2014. And the Russian side couldn't acknowledge that, the Donbass, and broke away. And now we have the civil war, and now we have the special military operation, and, well, there you go. And now Ukraine suppressed the Russian language, the Russian populations, and, you know, basically the religion as well. And that's where things like that actually happens. I mean, I believe it's totally stupid. And I cannot see, it's also like in Bosnia, in Herzegovina, and all how those wars were started. Muslims and Christians were living next to each other in peace and no problem. And then suddenly some idiot starts to stir the pot, and suddenly my neighbor becomes my biggest enemy. And then we try to kill each other. So, I don't know what I had to say about Nancy, but she should retire, stay at home. Because people at their age become senile, just like our Joe Biden. And they got nothing to lose in these areas. In any case, that's my story for today. Again, as I said in the beginning, please press the like or the dislike button, whatever you feel. And if you want to listen more, subscribe to the channel. And until next time, cheers.